Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us here on Morning at 10 TV. The Kickstarter conversation is getting underway in earnest. And if I were to advise on this matter, I would suggest that if you intend to step out of your lobby in the next 30 minutes, please don't, because we are going to be discussing for 1.5 hours something that has demonstrated that a lot of attention ought to be given to information rollout on the part of government agencies in order for the public to fully understand certain things the way they are supposed to be understood. In light of the release of the results for the Uganda certificate of exam that was yesterday, many parents are confused about whether their sons and daughters passed with flying colors or not. Some school heads may also be grappling with a bit of trouble here and there on how to exactly say or advertise their school, and that is a bit of a problem. The grading of the UCE is exactly why 3 gentlemen from the education system are with us this morning to help us understand what is, what ought to be, and what should be. The great question of the day is how Uganda National Examinations Board arrived at the new grading system. For those who might like to dwell on the lighter things of life, if your son came back with result 1, it means they passed. If they came with result 2 or result 3, then apparently we are told they might not qualify for a certificate, but that might be confusing. So one lady, when she was faced with a question from her father, she just said, result 1, Baba, it means grade 1, division 1. I have passed. That was it. For all the misinformation, for all the lack of clarity, gentlemen, I would like to welcome Desmus Mutanga, principal at St. Julian Schools. You've been here with us before. I'm glad to see you again. We are hoping that your perspective will embolden our understanding of these matters. You're welcome to Morning at 10 TV. You're welcome to Mr. Hillary Kahesi, Director of Studies at Standard High School. Welcome. As well as Mr. Calveri Turyahebwa, Director of Studies at Crested Secondary School. Gentlemen, I'm glad to have you on board.
Thank you, sir.
If I were to start, during my secondary school days, the directors of studies were very powerful men. These were, even now, they are still more powerful than the headmaster. Very. In a way, yes. Technically. So let me begin with the director of studies, and I will begin with the man on my immediate left. This whole, I don't want to call it confusion, but we shall take it as that.
Yes.
Take us through what we need to know first before we begin to question.
Now, to know most of the things deal with the new lower secondary curriculum, there are various things that we are supposed to know, of which the time given might not even be enough, because at the time this is something we took over 4 years to come up with the final results that we are having currently. Meaning, I'm just going to give you a hint, but of which there are many things that are within the new lower secondary curriculum.
Okay.
This means that with the new lower secondary curriculum, it involves approximately issues to deal with teaching, issues to deal with assessment, whereby assessment is having various issues in it. Within the teaching scope, we are doing many things in teaching, which is not the same that we had within the old curriculum that we had. Because here, when we are teaching, we are using something that is very unique that you may not be aware of at all. which is referred to as triangulation. And when we are teaching, when we are facilitating, because we are no longer teaching, indeed we are facilitating. We are not teachers, we are facilitators. Why? Because a person who is teaching, this means that this is the person who is giving the exact thing, like what he's telling you is what you're supposed to do. That is the teacher. But for us, we are facilitating a learner who understands something. We expect that every student at least has something that he knows. So it is from what he knows that we start from, and then we add on what he does not know. Therefore, within our teaching sector, we follow what we call the triangulation, which involves the observation of the learners. It involves the way how we have these learners in class. It has more of conversation, how we converse with these learners. It has the way we have the product in this work. Meaning that when you enter within the class to teach, when you enter in the class to facilitate these learners, yes, you're supposed to be aware that I'm going to start with a stimulus that is going to stimulate these learners to make sure that at least they bring out something they know before you add on what you know. Which wasn't the same within the old culture, because the way how we are taught at that time, they used to tell us, the teacher comes in class and is like, where did we stop last time? Then this and this, okay? We start paragraph, this and that. That was the old culture. But this time around, it is just a moment when you enter in class, you see the groups of the learners start with a stimulus. Then you stimulate these learners to make sure that even if it is which topic, there isn't any student who doesn't know. All right,
let me stay with you very shortly on that. Let me let's construct the picture of a classroom here.
Yes.
And let's assume that the first three here, we are the, Mr. Desmus, Mr. Kahesi, and me are the learners, and you're the teacher, and you're stepping into class. Ideally, when the teacher comes in, you're used to come in our class, that will be attention.
Yes.
Attention, no doubt. And there's a lot of fear, and some, you must be. So what happens when you come in class? Are you supposed to begin a conversation on anything you see within the setting? Or you can even choose to say, okay, Desmus, you're putting on a good tie, and the conversation begins like that?
No. When I enter in class, it's according to the way how I left it the other time. The first thing is, when I left the class and I left them with a research question, when I enter in class and most of these learners this time around, by the way, no longer even greet them and say good morning. By the time you're entering in the class, you're hearing the students say, good morning, teacher Sam, like, yes. By the time then of course you have to reply them. Hello, how are you? And you become the class lively. How was the holiday? How was yesterday?
How was the weekend?
Yes. Then you're like, now, there is something I've ever heard about, especially let's say I'm talking about land. I will tell this, there is something that I had ever heard about, and maybe in the news that were broadcasted yesterday, is there anyone who heard about issues to deal with land? There was this and this, the land was like this and this, and anyone who heard about it? Then someone will say, yes, then give us your view on what you think about this.
You're teaching learners in secondary school like you would teach students at university. That is exactly what I see. That's what my Professor Nyanja used to do. He comes in and begins a conversation on anything but anything. Director of Studies, we shall be coming to the principal. This whole thing is, confusing. I know we shall be delving into the grading system, but we need background first. How this came about, the entire year, the learning processes, the assessment of these learners and students, to be able to capture what they did before they sat for the exam as part of the grading.
Thank you so much. To start with, by the way, I'm called Hillary Kahesi, the Director of Studies, Standard High School Zzana, main campus.
Okay.
Standard High School Zzana has two campuses. One is in Zzana, another one is in Ruwero.
All right.
To start with, this new curriculum when it started, it faced a lot of challenges, and the first challenge was objection, the public, some of us teachers refusing to accept change.
Okay.
So the first gospel that was spread to most of us teachers was, can you accept change? 4 years down the road, here we are. This means we accepted the change, and that's very glad. Yesterday, when the Minister of Education, Mama Janet Katam Seven, was giving her speech, she cautioned those teachers that up to now, there are those teachers that are still using the syllabus of the new curriculum, but teaching the way of the old curriculum, which is so bad. A teacher now changed from the teacher, we are facilitators, just like Mr. Mutanda put it right. The learners,
Mr. Turyahebwa.
Mr. Turyahebwa, sorry. The learners know something. We don't start from good morning, as he said. Where did we stop? Start. And you copy notes from the beginning up to the end. I am a geography history teacher. Yeah. And this new curriculum, when it came to us history teachers, you know, the old curriculum was theoretical, was everything bad. And here comes the practical new curriculum. And someone wondered, how will the history be a practical subject? And here we made it. History is now a practical subject. We do it practically. We make sure the learners enjoy our history lessons. How? We relate what was with what is, and this helps us to determine what will be tomorrow. This new curriculum is a process. When they were talking about the grading system, it has not just started now. It started as early as when it was introduced by the teachers assessing the learners, what they called continuous assessment, which contributes 20%. The UNEB, the UCE now, the exam itself, it has only 80%. And the other one, the teacher, now is put in the big shoes of contributing a lot. 20%. That is the 20%.
Okay, Mr. Principal, I'm sure at Julian schools this rollout must have been seamless, and the results as they did shouldn't have caused any kind of furor among the parents or even the teachers themselves. How is it your side?
Thank you so much, our moderator. Like I've said, Desmus Mutanga is my name, the principal of St. Julian Schools. But at the same time, a proud science teacher.
Proud science teacher. Okay, there you are.
I must say, God has been on our side.
As St. Julian? As
St. Julian, and at the same time as teachers.
As teachers, yeah.
And I want to congratulate our ministry, led by Mama Janet Museveni. Like you have said at the introductory part, is it the right timing? Or we ought to have done this before? To me, I'm saying, if I was there during that time, and I was a student, when this is being brought, I would be the happiest.
Okay.
I'm only looking at one. I may not go much into the teaching. My colleagues have explained it well. We are
ideally, as the program goes on, we shall go into that.
Yes, yeah, we are no longer teachers, but we are facilitators.
Yeah.
Why I'm proud of the ministry is that during our time of studying, every person would be a teacher in the community. It is all about cramming what they taught you. Get the newspaper or the notes like the newspaper, read for the children. And once the children can listen, you proudly move out as a teacher. And when we entered into the training, you would get people and some questions and the challenges being brought to us to define whether the teaching profession is a profession. As it is now, I think it is a profession. That's why I'm congratulating the ministry.
Okay.
That not every person can enter into the teaching and we get the results. There is a lot that has been done to the teaching fraternity. Like my colleagues have said, at first we resisted. But out of this process of retooling by the ministry, by schools like St. Julian, we have accepted that this is the way to go.
This is the way to
And why I have said I'm a proud science teacher is that everything is rotating about experiments, practicals. Let the learners be, practical in whatever they are doing.
whatever they're doing.
Let even the assessment that we are yet to discuss be practical. It is not all about UNEB sitting in the rooms, the examiners examine you for those hours and then they give you a D1. We are yet to see that even these grades that we are talking about, it came from the schools. The head teachers, the teachers had an upper hand on what we've seen in these results that have been given out. So the schools have contributed, UNEB have contributed. When it comes to the teaching, the teachers have been there, the children have been there to contribute to the grades that we are talking about. So this is why, personally, I'm very proud, and what UNEB has released is a manifestation of what the St. Julian schools have been doing, and in particular the teachers who have seen this first lot getting the results as it is now.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for what is no doubt a very good background to this particular discussion that comes on the backdrop of the release of UCE results for 2024. Now, the controversy lies in the grading, or the misunderstanding rather, not controversy, because just like you've said, I don't see anything controversial, but the misunderstanding is what we need to debunk. How the UCE grading works. The Ministry of Education shared this, and I'll read it verbatim, read it here for you rather. Grade A is described as exceptional. This one demonstrates an extraordinary level of competence by applying innovatively and creatively the acquired knowledge and skills in real-life situations. Grade B is described as outstanding and demonstrates a high level of competence by applying the acquired skills, knowledge in real-life situations. And C is satisfactory, while D is basic and E is elementary. What changes here are the words extraordinary level for A, high level for B, adequate level for C, minimum level for D, and below the basic level for E. Let's begin with you. Extraordinary level, high level. These two, there's a thin line between high level and extraordinary level.
Yes.
And many times, even if it comes to the way people do their work, you could be at pains to say this is extraordinary, this is high level, because they can overlap at one point in time.
Yes.
Doesn't that justify the lack of understanding that many of us are grappling with right now? How does extraordinary level, how does a student demonstrate extraordinary and not high level?
Okay, thank you very much. As I said earlier, in our assessments that we have been doing, my colleague talked about the 20% and the 80%.
Yeah.
With the giving of these letter grades, that's what I can call them,
grades,
the
yeah.
letter grades, they have covered many things so that you can see who is exceptional, who is ordinary, and who is satisfactory. Now, meaning that when we started the assessment of these learners, according to all the things that we have been doing, they were showing how this learner is better than the other. in this way or the other in solving the real life situations. Because everything is on the real life situations, because in Uganda we have various challenges, we have various problems, so we are looking on how we are to solve them. Now, when we see the exceptional student, it means that even if he was given the 80% to sit for an end of psych assessment, when he did this examination, because the questions also were on solving the real life situations, when he was solving the problems that we are having in Uganda here, he was really exceptional. He had various ways, he had various explanations. He showed people how we can apply it in our country here in Uganda. When we are giving the activities of integration at the time, this learner, when we could set for this learner an activity of integration, and we ask him, how can we solve this challenge in Uganda? He had various methodologies how we can solve them. He had various explanations on how we can solve them. He also looked and went on to the deeper side of giving an explanation on how we can apply it in Uganda and it works out. That is the one we are calling an exceptional student this time around.
Extraordinary.
Yeah,
the one that scores extraordinary level. Doesn't this have a matrix to it? Because if Chris Higenyi and Mr. Calveri sat at one point in time, they could be dealing with different challenges at individual level. And how they deal with these challenges might be different. For example, let's say the challenge is as simple as coming up with a module for the day's work. They give you one, they ask you, how are you going to do this today? And how is Chris going to do this today? The circumstances through which I'm acting, the thought process is different. It means that tomorrow, that thought process and circumstances might change, and I could think better than I thought yesterday. And maybe he could be dealt a blow by thinking lesser than he thought yesterday. I'm looking at, do we have a matrix that determines that so-and-so was extraordinary or dealt with this challenge very well on Wednesday? This challenge, if it were another person, would they deal with it the same way or in a better way? What is the matrix that determines who is extraordinary? Not just looking at somebody and saying this one has answered questions better than the other one, and then all of a sudden I imagine or say he's extraordinary. Those are the challenges we face, some of us, when you are brought to the table in a boardroom and KPIs are below you, key performance indicators. And somebody says, this guy does his job very well. And the chief says, okay, where are the metrics? Show me. Is that how you do it? Or it depends on whether you're wowed by the fact that this learner is extraordinary, and then we take it like. Is that something that happens in class?
Thank you. As he said, exceptional student is extraordinary, is already good, but better than that high class student. And if you are to be in a class, I'll give an example. Geography, we used to have questions like, number one, compulsory, what is the distance between this point and this point on a map extract? It's just asking for knowledge. Do you know how to measure distance?
You know how to measure distance,
but what is the applicability of that distance, of that knowledge? Now, in the new curriculum, we shall not find those questions of what is the distance. The question may be, if Mr. Mugisha is traveling from Ntinda maybe to City Square, let's say that, of course, you have to check that on the extract. And now they are going to ask you, how much money is Mr. Mugisha going to use or spend on transit? That is paying for transport fare from Ntinda to City Square, if 1 kilometer is 1,000. The child will be tasked first of all to calculate for distance.
Yep.
That is knowledge. But he has applied that knowledge of distance into the monetary life that we are living in now. I think there you can see but there is the other candidate who will calculate the distance and stop there. There is the other candidate, maybe is an international child, who will calculate the amount.
Yeah, studying in international school.
No, it may be from Kenya, but studying in...
yeah, sure.
And it's going
their circumstances are different.
To write the answer, but in the Kenyan shillings. There is this South Sudanese that will write the amount in dollars of Sudan. All those students are right.
Okay. Now
that is the
applicability of the
application.
But
right. There is the other one who will calculate the distance and stop there. That one has also passed, but which level of passing is it?
All right. There is the below the basic level. Now, the way you've put it, I can now see the one that is below the basic level may also have a bit of trouble understanding just calculating the distance itself. But now with numbers, given the numbers that are existent, if 100 students have to be graded, and then you go through the process of figuring out this one is exceptional, this one is not, especially on account of questions that don't require putting on paper or calculating, going through simply oral, which could be under the 20%. Isn't this tedious?
Maybe to respond to that, the teachers submit their scores to UNEB. We are having the first one called activity of integration. Activity of integration. That's in layman's language. This is a topical test. Have you understood this topic taught by the teacher? Then we have the subject achievement. Subject achievement, the teacher is in class observing. When we go back to the triangulation he talked about, the teacher is observing. How is Mr. So-and-so, how is child A, child B participating in class? And these scores contribute on that final grade, A, B, C, D, and E.
Okay, there is something here that we need. I think it, of course, augments what you say. Asked how schools will determine who qualifies for combination subject A-level, Segoya said it will depend on respective schools, and this is why I want to come in on Mr. Mutanga. It has again, something has been left to the schools to determine the ideal situation on who the best student is, those who have scored A or B. I don't understand. Help me understand what has been thrown to you by UNEB to determine, and not UNEB itself, in terms of who the best student is.
Thank you so much. I think it has been left to the public, to the consumers, the students, the teachers, and I mean it is for all of us.
All of us, the public.
But the bottom line is, we can't be all the same. Like we have been discussing about assessment. Naturally, assessment will always take a shape.
Yeah.
And we must accept, even when they come here, they will say our moderator, as far as Martinez is concerned, has taken #1. I said, but Mr. Mutanga has also put on the court. You say, no. By what I'm seeing, the moderator is the best. Now, when it comes to this curriculum that we are talking about, I would urge the public to accept what the Minister of Education and UNEB has done for us. And we look at the advantages of this new curriculum. To me, when it was being brought on board, and what we are seeing now, I can understand that they had all the reasons to abolish the old curriculum, and we come to the new curriculum. Yes, the old curriculum, when it talks about grading, that they can see Mr. Mutanga in a second grade, then they can see our moderator in the first class. They are all putting, I mean, first grade. really, it tortures the mind. But now when it comes to looking at a child, that we are all human beings, but I have my strength and you also have your strength. When they give you an A, it means, like our colleagues have been educating the public, you've exhibited an extraordinary behavior, right from teaching up to the point of answering the questions.
That is right.
These examiners were not there when you were teaching. But it so happens that a head teacher or director of studies submits the results, continuous assessment, that out of 3, out of 10, this person qualifies for 8 out of 10. And when they look at the paper, the presentation of how the work has been done, it also matches with this person, the teacher, or the school. If the school is saying out of 10, you have 9. In the rank, I mean in the marking, out of 80, you have an 8. I mean a 70. I think this person is good enough. And now when they are publishing these results, you may find that such people are the one, or such students are the ones that have been accorded an A. So let us accept that an A, it did not just come from the blue, it started from school up to the last end of cycle assessment. And this person is extremely good. So now when I'm selecting who must be the best, as we are struggling who is the best.
Right now.
Yes. I was impressed in one of our campus of St. Julian schools, that when it came to the results being released, first of all passed in results 1. I said, okay. Confusion started coming, first grade. But when you look at the isolated assessment, that is the project. The project, yeah. All the children had A. These children are good. Then when it comes to these mixed kind of subjects put together, you see people getting A's. Now what must we say? Much as we are changing from D1s, D2, F9s to A and B, we must accept that what they have given us as A, this is the best person. If a school has got A's throughout, then I will jubilate and I say, yes, my teachers have done a good job. Now, when it comes to coming to select who must do which subject, still I will start with what UNEB has given us. We appreciate. We can't substitute and we say, since UNEB has given us A as the best, we give a combination to somebody who has got an E. First thing, what is the authority saying? UNEB is saying A is the best. 2, examine the children. Because as it is now, we may not know where did the A begin and end. And so is the E. But is this person having the love for what is going to do at A level? Present the children all have got A's and B's. But when I ask you when I'm selecting which combination do you want, you come up and say, as it is now, I want a PCB. Biology, chemistry, and physics. I look at your grades. You may not have got A's throughout. Right. Yeah. But you have a B and you have a C. I ask you what do you want to be? Say, no, me I want to be a doctor. Per se. If you want to be a doctor, are you willing to continue with it? Yes. And this is where the curriculum is taking us. Let us teach children what they want. What they want to be in the future, not forcing them to what the community or the family wants. Because the parent, the father, the mother are not going to be there. But it is the child, between the child and the teacher and the environment. So for me, I will make a selection basing, 1, the authority that is UNEB, what they have given me in the final marker. 2, the interest of the learner.
The interest of the learner.
Yes. So that would be the basis I would suggest and advise.
Thank you very much. Something has been simplified there, but still, I'm sure if we had more time, no doubt, we would go into this. Now, let me get down to how this is going to shape the new landscape for the education system, especially when it comes to how schools are going to act. Many times, it was about we've gotten so many students in this particular grade, so that means we are good at what we do. Bring your child to us. and we do the needful. Right now, the explanations are going to be a little bit more because parents are not in on this particular new way of how things are going to work. How do we see the cost of education? I don't know whether I'm asking the wrong people on cost of education because you are officials at schools, but this new system should be able to downgrade cost. Not so?
Yes, to some extent.
Take us through how.
Now, most of the schools were basing on the grading of the learner, and most of the students could go to different schools because they have only grade 1, they have grade what, but still that is there still up to now. Reason being, as to what my friend has said here, by the time we say all the students are having A in all the subjects, it still gives you a view that yes, that the students have passed. For example, here at Crested Secondary, for us at Crested Secondary School, I was seeing in the new vision, there is our boy. We have tried to make sure that all the learners have passed very well, and they're having A and few B's that we have in our school. Now, that means that even if a person is able to watch the news, to see the newspapers, can easily understand that no, this school, the students, all of them are having A. The other one is having B, and there is C. So still a person can easily understand this. Therefore, I think it may change the way how things have been, but not all that much. Because the performance of the learners, you can easily see it when you understand what is exceptional, what is satisfactory, what is ordinary. As long as you understand them, it does not change anything all that much.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that something that you agree with entirely?
Now you see, there is what we say, based on data to make an informed decision. However much the ministry is trying to remove competition between learners and between schools.
Yeah.
If you check in the new vision,
that have reached levels that are unacceptable. People willing to do everything.
If you check in the new vision today, you will find that even when the ministry is trying to fight competition, they have ranked schools according to S. They have ranked schools according to E's and F's. I'm glad when I checked, I found my school was among the top in the new vision, Standard High School Zzana. And this gave me hope that whoever sees there will know that I'm taking my child to A level, to the right institution. Secondly, we all know what is good and what is bad. However much this could have created some kind of confusion, but we need to say that A is good.
Yes.
A, you have passed. If it's a race, and they say, all of you start, run, there is that child that will not run at all. There is one that will run going backwards. There is one that will run faster than others, and will reach the destination faster. And combinations will be given according to that. You asked something about cost. And to me, I look at it in the other way around. Most of these subjects are now more expensive, both to the parent and to the school. Imagine the computer where I teach, because of the integration of ICT, we made computer compulsory, ICT. But will every school manage to have computers that can fit the students? Are all these schools having the laboratories? Trust me, all the students, most of them will want to run for sciences because of many other reasons, not capability or ability reasons. Because I've seen a B, you know, a B is something big. If you go back to A-level curriculum and you get a B. And we don't know, UNEB, the range. Was it from 2.5 to 3 Was it from 2? We find
Would you have missed the A by a slice? You know.
Now you find that someone got a B in biology, but in actual sense, can you make a good doctor? If you continue with the biology, how sure will you be that this will will give us the better result at the end? What I'm trying to mean, they have reduced the D1 to F to just A, B, C, D, and E. Meaning the F, the 8, the 7, maybe that is E. But you will find the D1, the D2, the C3, the C4 is the A. Somewhere, it may place some of our children in wrong combinations, which may end up.
I'm glad you did give us what is no doubt a very elaborate aspect on that. The A, according to this particular grading, is between 80 and 100.
No. No.
This is...
No. That is something that they have been putting on social media.
That is social media.
Yes, that is social media. It is the one which is grading for UNEB. UNEB did not give us any grading of 80 to 90, neither did they give us D1, D2
for the 20% assessment.
No, no.
Now, why would UNEB share on its platforms such information again?
Is it on UNEB platform?
Is it? It can't. We haven't got any information.
The new grading
like
system for the Uganda Certificate of Education exams under the competency-based curriculum is quite different from the previous one. Instead of the traditional divisions, UNEB is using a letter grading system where candidates are awarded grades from A to E.
Yes.
Grade A, if somebody were to understand it in distinction terms, it means they've either scored between 80 and 100.
Because maybe whoever wrote that wanted to, because we know that the distinction one is 80 and E, so they wanted to make this
person understand that A is,
but we no longer have
that.
Yes, it is not there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We are heading into the half-hour mark. When we reach the half-hour mark, we shall break. But before we do that, there is the fate of the students who have result 3. Those ones that may not qualify for a certificate. I don't know where they are going next. Are they repeating? Because UNEB, as of yesterday, didn't have a clear answer on whether they should repeat or not. A statement that was outed by one Dr. Crested Turyahebwa, the Education Permanent Secretary, the ministry will discuss the matter on whether these learners can repeat or not. Results are out, and we do not have a way forward on those who have not been able to make it, or rather be eligible for a certificate. What's the next? What's their fate, Mr. Mutanga?
Thank you so much. I think I will not speak on behalf of UNEB and the ministry. Those are my bosses.
Okay.
And I will be preempting them to make a decision which may not be informed.
Yeah, my concern is on the fact that at this point we should be knowing what will happen to them.
Yes, we are experimenting this new curriculum. It is new. We must be able to exhibit patience in whatever we do. At the right timing, the information will come out. But what I may just want to put a comment on, that when you look at the assessment and the teaching in the new lower curriculum, from the beginning, though somewhere in the middle, it was misunderstood and the ministry dropped it up. But some schools like St. Julian and my colleagues, I imagine they adopted it and it is continuing. If in this assessment the child has performed poorly, it means he's not going for A level. Is that right?
Yeah, because
but in this new curriculum there was the component of DIT. Much as this DIT was supposed to be examined at senior 3, the ministry and the UNEB pulled out with some factors that they considered that it would not be proper. But some of us will continue with it. Now, I'm imagining if my child does not got the best results 1. But in the process of teaching, at the end of the cycle, I'd given these children some knowledge to do with the vocational studies. I've taught them computer, he has talked about it. I've taught them hairdressing. I've taught them plumbing. That is not the end of everything. They can use this knowledge to go for other tertiary institutions, which will better them. Because this is where their interest is. And even if they continue, for us why we are insisting on this vocational studies, DIT, is that even when they continue to universities, a plumber will remain a plumber. After the lecture rooms in Makerere University, he will slope down to Wandegea and look for his colleagues, the plumber. And in an evening time, other than going for clubbing and so on, they will be getting some little money out of the skills that they will have acquired. In the same sense, as we wait for UNEB to come up with whichever communication that will be there and the ministry, these children, I advise them, if in their schools there was vocational studies and the DIT, let them not lose hope. They can easily get the best out of these skills that they acquired. And for us, we are very serious on this.
No, me as a layman, when there is a lacuna in the setup of how things must proceed, and it is down to either a parent's means understanding what the student or the learner might want to do or is passionate about, I think direction becomes a bit of a problem. And that is why we need to be, I don't know whether this is a question that should have gone to the Minister of Education. Unfortunately, we don't have an official from Education. I hope during the week or even next week we can be able to bring them here so this can be clarified once and for all, so that people know if this doesn't happen, what's next. Because certainty is key. People want to know what is going to happen next and how, where they should go, instead of figuring it out. There are some people who don't have the ability to figure out things, and that is why the education system must cater for the least competent person to be able to get to the whole matter. Gentlemen, we are going into a break. This conversation, like Mr. Turyahebwa said earlier, might not have all the time as Morning at 10 TV, but it's continuous, and as the papers have it, very elaborate. The first page has the AAAA, and you can ably see and figure out that yes, this.
By now, many of the students who sat for UCE last year, they are now either excited and jubilating, or they are looking at the way forward. This is Stephen Imbidon FFSUH. I'm coming to you from Chisasi College School here in Kampala, but we want to understand, because there are so many parents even up to now, and of course the students who are now still confused about the grading system that was put out by Uganda National Examinations Board yesterday. So I'm speaking to a director of a school. This is Chisasi College School, but also a leader within this community, Haj Latif Sebagala Sengendo. Thank you so much for spending your time.
Thank you very much. Morning to you. Morning, viewers. This is Chisasi College School, and I'm happy that you're here.
All right. Yeah. You are an educationist, but also a leader in this community. As an educationist, many parents and students are still concerned about this grading system. We still not understand. I saw even some journalists yesterday trying to understand how should we report this grading system.
Yeah, this is a new lower curriculum syllabus. Indeed, it is a new curriculum. And we had a lot of challenges when this new lower secondary curriculum was introduced. So we had to go through various workshops, training our teachers, retooling them, and so that we can really cope up with the new challenge. But when it comes to the results, definitely parents must be confused, because they are used to the old system. 8 in 8. 8 in 8. We have got 10 first grade, 30 first grades, 300 first grades. But what you should really know is that when it comes to the grading that was used by UNEB. We have those, because at HSC, that's where you used to find A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
But now it has also gone to O-level, the new curriculum. That someone who has performed the well, that is the old curriculum, D1, that one you can refer to him as a D, as A. Even someone who has gone to B, and that is the D2 altogether. So now, to the new curriculum, the picture they want to portray that everybody is supposed to pass. They want to eliminate the word failure. That's why they say when it comes to someone getting E or D, it's not, he has not failed, but he is not in position, or he cannot get a certificate. So if you cannot get a certificate, that means you have failed. But failure in the new curriculum is not there altogether. So therefore, our dear parents, what you must know is that your son or daughter in this new curriculum, if he gets above 90, 80, that is A. And if he gets around 70, that is B, altogether C. So it's just a matter of changing the grading system, but it remains that those who have performed better will still continue to perform better and will be graded in that category.
You know, I saw from this explanation that was so confusing that exceedingly, extraordinary, high level, those kind of, was it too much English other than saying that you are good in first grade?
Of course, there are those, like here in Kisaskoji School, there are those who got A in various subjects altogether. So, exceptional altogether. So they were, they did excellently well altogether. And then there are those who were like outstanding altogether. So I think what UNEB wanted to come up with is to put every person, especially the learners, comfortable that yes, the system of grading that we have got these first grades, and I think it was kind of maybe demoralizing some learners. So they wanted to make some kind of protection that no, even if a student has not performed well, but let us not call him a failure altogether. So I think that's what they want to do away with. You
know, with the E, that is where one doesn't get a certificate. Yeah, maybe some parents were saying that you want to say that my child either didn't start at all from senior 1 to senior 4, didn't even score like a 2. For them to at least get a certificate to show that maybe you failed, or you didn't fail, but at least you scored a 2 or 5. But
even the old curriculum, there were those whom we could refer to as ungraded altogether. They couldn't get a certificate altogether. Even here, the moment you don't perform well, and then after the assessment, you are nowhere. You are not in A, you are not in B, you are not in C. Definitely, they grade you as someone who cannot get a certificate.
So what should be their option? Coming back and then studying senior FA again, or what should they be the option?
Of course,
going for vocational institutions?
The best option for those, because UNEB and the Ministry of Education should come up with a system that can enable someone who has not got a certificate to repeat altogether. Because even at university level, altogether, if you fail a paper, there's a chance of doing a supplementary altogether. So how are we going to have supplementary papers for those in O-level who are not in position, who are not going to acquire a certificate? So that because if someone has no certificate, that means the entire 4 years he has spent in school is not recognized. And the recognition of those 4 years is by certificate. Produce a certificate to show that you have ever attended O-level. So I think what the ministry should do, because out of the around 360,000 students who sat altogether, we have a sizable number who cannot get a certificate. And then where do we see those learners in future? I think the best option should be let those learners repeat, or lest UNEB do what we can call a remedial course for these people so that they can really cope up with the challenges.
You know, when you talk about the future, you know these learners who have gone through UCE or Senior 4, they are also going to Senior 5, Senior 6. But we know up to now still have a challenge. We don't have a new curriculum for A-level. And they are coming to Senior 5 after going through this assessment. What is the future going to be like for those ones who have gone through O-level?
This is a very great challenge. That I don't know how the government plans, especially the Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Education, because when they introduced the new curriculum, the lower secondary curriculum, they knew that in 4 years, after 4 years, those who have completed Senior 4 will have to go to Senior 5. Now, we are in a situation whereby we don't have, because they are going to join Senior 5. In 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be joining Senior 5. But under which kind of system? Are they going to sit Senior 5? Those who have come from a new curriculum, and then they join the old curriculum? Is it going to be a hybrid, whereby we're going to have a new curriculum together with the old curriculum? And what is the syllabus altogether? So I think by this time, every secondary school will be in the know that this is how we are going to move. I don't know what the National Curriculum Development Center is doing, because this is their mandate. In 3 years, I think they would have produced something that this is going to be our syllabus for the new a new upper curriculum, because now this is HSC. But right now, we are stranded. We don't know, are we going to go into our traditional combinations, HEG, PCM, PEM, blah, blah. Are we going to go to that? Is there any new kind of arrangement that we are going to take up so that it can link up with the new curriculum from O-level? So those are million-dollar questions.
You know, when you talk about these million-dollar questions, we're even talking about a time when we just had the report that is going to be made public soon, the one of Education Policy Review Commission. And yes, exactly. So maybe it was all this introduction of a new curriculum rush that maybe we need to have a compact reform of education sector. Maybe that would have helped the situation.
I remember very vividly, by the time this new lower secondary curriculum was introduced, I was a member of parliament. We had a lot of arguments on the floor that please, we all know and we are all convinced that we need to have a new curriculum altogether. We need to do away with the traditional historical colonial system altogether. But how are we going to do it? Because everyone believes that we need to have a curriculum which is really hands-on based altogether. And it's a good curriculum. But we said, what is our level of preparation? By the time the curriculum was introduced, I think it was around only 10% of teachers who had gone under training altogether. Definitely, schools have been struggling over how to train their staff members in as far as this new curriculum is concerned. So I think there was no preparation. And that's why, even up to now, when results have already been released, that the next step now is seeing those who have progressed going to Senior 5, but we don't have a syllabus for the new curriculum. So I think the government should really ensure that there is some preparations. And secondly, when you look at how this new curriculum works, that students are given 20%. The 80% is for them to go and make research. So the contribution of the teacher is only 20%. The rest is for the students to go to the computer labs and make research. But right now, many schools, especially rural schools, they don't have computer labs. They don't have solar systems. So that is what the government should have done before.
You know, when you talk about this also, I understand that even at the university level, at higher institutions of learning, we are even still talking about, quote unquote, expired old courses, courses that have not been brought up to date. So it seems that maybe we need to have an overhaul from the word nursery to high institutions, a whole compact, a whole new updated syllabus or curriculum for all institutions, even tertiary institutions like vocational institutions. Maybe then we'll have maybe a better education system, right?
Yes, because I'm yet to study well the Mushega new report altogether. Amanya Mushega new report about the education system. But even then, when you look at our primary education, does it fit well in the new curriculum for lower secondary education? Because we are having learners right from primary who are going to join secondary education where there is a new curriculum. But are we having a new curriculum at lower level? Because I would have thought that this new curriculum would have started right away from nursery. By the time these learners reach P7, then they will be really in a new curriculum, as you can call it. But now we are having the old curriculum running in primary schools. Then in secondary school, in O level, we have a new curriculum. At HSC now, we are yet to see which curriculum are we going to use. Are we going to use a hybrid? So I think the government should really act better by involving all stakeholders and also trying to see and adapt some best practices in other countries. How is it done? Because we know that we cannot afford to have or to train learners for 6 years in secondary school, and then at the end of the day they only get a certificate without doing anything tangible that they can do something that even if someone drops at senior 6, he can fit in the world.
Let's also go back to the issue of the grading. UNEB must have, because this was the first time for the teachers, of course for schools like you, SAS College, we are able to take through the teachers through this system. For those who are not able to take them through the grading system, what should UNEB improve? What should they learn, take away from this new, having been the pioneer one for the new curriculum? What should they take away?
I think UNEB together with the Ministry of Education and also with the National Curriculum Development Center. This was the pioneer year because they were the first set of exams in the new curriculum altogether, and these were our pioneer national students altogether. Therefore, UNEB should sit down with Ministry of Education to examine, to analyze. To analyze what never went well in as far as the system is concerned. And I would request that there are so many teachers in many schools, especially in rural areas, who were not well prepared for this new curriculum. So UNEB should carry out various workshops, various trainings. You find teachers who are still teaching using the old fashion simply because they were not retooled altogether. So UNEB should do a deliberate program that we are going to have regional workshops altogether, regional zonal workshops, so that teachers could really know what it entails to teach a learner in the new curriculum.
Now I know if also very soon, I think in a week or so, we shall be seeing the selection system coming up, and then that will also be another headache for those who will be sent to either Google or wherever to do the selection. How will it be handled, or how should we handle that system, especially for those who are coming in for the first time to know how many will go to Chisas, how many will go to Weranyanji and wherever?
Of course, the old system of first grade, second grade will still move on under the guise that it's now a new system. Because if someone has got A in biology, or we're looking at a learner who was doing 9 subjects altogether, and all the 8 subjects he got A. So that is 8 in 8 altogether. So I think those schools who have been looking for those cream candidates will continue sourcing them from who got A. So that
it will be injustice. I've even seen some people here online asking me how Felista, the superstar, is, and maybe as we wind up, how did Chisas College School so perform in this recent one?
Of course, Felista, the superstar, is in senior 3, so he's a semi-candidate. Next year he's going to sit senior 4, inshallah. Right now they're in class, and you cannot call her to disrupt her lessons. But we performed well, because when I looked at the performance of all our learners, most of them got A and B altogether, and all of them are eligible for HSC.
Congratulations,
Chisasi College. I wish you all the best, and I wish all the Kawempe MPA the best, and our new.
Okay. Anyway. Thank you so much, Alhaji Latif Sebagaseng. And I know when he mentioned about Kawempe, I knew he was trying to insinuate that 2026 that will be Kawempe division. But for now, let me hand you to Rashul Adidi Baguma in West Nile. What's happening there? What's happening in the other side of Uganda, Rashul?
Thank you very much, Stephen Bide, for giving us the update in Kawempe. And of course, if I heard you right, you were talking about sports, and later on you dive into issues of politics ahead of 2026. However, away from that, we're discussing about the just released UCE results. Questions have surrounded different pertaining the interpretation of these results. Now, if you check the different social media platforms, if you check mainstream platforms, including print, you realize that a number of people have been limited when it comes to interpretation of these results. But also, secondly, many people are asking themselves questions about this new system, looking at the grading system. Many are asking probably how this could be in the future. And now that these learners will be heading or will be enrolling to A-level, what will be their fate when it comes to selection of courses, or maybe combinations that can allow them to do courses which are very lucrative, aware that this time the market is very competitive. Back to Koboko District or Koboko Municipality, yesterday following the release of these results, we did see a number of schools grappling when it comes to the issue of interpretation of these results. However, unfortunately, 2 schools, that is to say St. Charles Luanga College Koboko and Coach Secondary School, were not able to access their results. Their results have been held by UNEB over issues of unpaid invoices. For example, for the case of that is St. Charles Luanga College Koboko, they have an unpaid invoice of 2015 costing 50,000 shillings. Meanwhile, Kochi, yesterday they did tell me that they've tried everything possible. However, they didn't access their results even after payment. So as I speak this morning, some of the academic department officials have traveled to Kampala to ensure that they access their results. So this is what I can bring for you from Koboko pertaining the results. And this morning I'm delighted and pleased to be joined by one of the educationists, and he happens to be the academic secretary of Nyarolo Secondary School. I want him to bring us into perspective and context pertaining these particular results. We're looking at parents grappling when it comes to issues of interpretation, and even the students themselves are finding it hard to interpret these results. How have they prepared themselves to ensure that they give explanation beyond? Mr. Abi, my most welcome to Morning NTV Show.
Thank you so much. My name is Abdurrahman, the deputy teacher in charge of academic affairs and co-curricular in Nyarolo Secondary School. Yesterday, just like the whole country, we received the UCE results. I want to congratulate all the candidates, the parents, and all the educationists for their efforts in achieving those results. For us, Nyarolo SS, we registered 132 candidates. Quite unfortunately, one candidate was not able to sit because he went to South Sudan. But the 131 that were able to sit for their final papers received the results 1. I therefore want to congratulate the staff and the entire school for that achievement. On the issue of the interpretation, as you rightly put it, this has really raised a lot of issues in the public domain. And basically this is because of the shadows of the old curriculum, which many of the stakeholders still remain in. People were very eager to hear what number of first grades, what number of failures, that kind of stuff. But just like you've already seen, this is competency-based curriculum. It is more interested in measuring what are the levels of creativity, that holistic education that this learner has achieved. What is this learner able to do? What are the competencies that this learner has been able to achieve? And so there is a lot of confusion because many people are trying to mirror the old curriculum in the just released UCE results. You will see that the results have been graded using the letters, and each letter actually is showing a certain level of competency. In each subject, learners have been graded from A, B, C, up to E. So learners that are able to be given A in each subject actually means that this was an outstanding learner, exceptional learner actually in that particular subject. Then B shows that this learner was able to be outstanding. Then C is satisfactory, D is basic, and then E is elementary. So when you look at all these across the subjects that this learner has been doing, it gives you a picture of the competencies this learner was able to achieve in the course of their UCE.
Maybe let's dive into the aspect of the fate of those who have sat but they have not performed well, those who failed to get D in their results. In the previous curriculum, when a child fails, the child can go back to senior 4 and receive. However, we're seeing in this new curriculum, which is competence-based and critical thinking required, what will be the fate of those who didn't perform well or who were in results 9%? What will be their fate this time?
Okay, you know, the government has had a meticulous planning and they have been generating this for a very long time, and they have really a complete package. You would actually be more worried about the students who sat the old curriculum for the second time and are not able to do well. But because this is the beginning of the new lower secondary school curriculum, I really think that all is in place. For example, who are those that are able to get result 1? These are candidates who are able to achieve at least a D in one of the subjects that they sat for at UCE. And then who are those that get result 2? These are candidates who sat the examinations but missed 1 or 2 or some compulsory papers or several other subjects. They did not sit for them, maybe due to sickness or some other factors. Then result 3, those who also have cases where maybe they sat all the papers and their best across all this was E, which is elementary across. Then result 4, basically those who had their continuous assessment records but are not able to sit the physical papers. So now, in this case, somebody would quickly think that those who have not been certified to get a result 1 where they will be certified, they still have a chance. They can maybe go back and have a receipt and see where they can improve, at least get a D in one of the subjects, and then they get a certificate of UCE, and then we move forward.
Maybe I want to introduce myself to the projects.
Yes.
UNEB basically does the supervision in the final written examination. Meanwhile, for the project, these are supervised by the schools themselves. There's been allegation, there's currently ongoing public debate about the authenticity, but also when it comes to the aspect of these projects, whether these schools don't cheat or the teachers themselves don't sit for these learners, and later on we have some kind of cases of maybe learners performing well, meanwhile they need to do the projects themselves. Maybe how could we be in position to clarify on this particular currently ongoing debate about the projects themselves?
Okay, from my point of view, I will assertively say that, you know, everybody has an opinion, a right to an opinion. However, that does not make everybody's opinion right. One of the benefits, from my point of view, that I see of this new lower secondary school curriculum is that the elements of examination malpractice will very soon be a thing of the past. Because when you look at what has happened, really, even if you interest yourself in issues of malpractice, you may not really have the benefits that you used to have. Now, back to the issue of the projects. These projects account for a certain percentage together with the with the continuous assessment and the activities of integration, these are things that are done within the school. And there are clear guidelines, and that's where the issue of integrity comes. As a teacher, a professional teacher, one of the key qualities that values that you're supposed to have is the value of honesty and integrity. And really, if you wish well for the country, if you wish well for this candidate, then you're going to be diligent in all these things that you do. But above all, now when it comes to the aspect of comparing the project scores, the continuous assessment scores with what this child gets in the final examination, then you can easily soil yourself if you have been somebody who has been dishonest. What will be the point of scoring project and the continuous assessment very highly, and yet in the final assessment, which is supervised by UNEB, the child is performing at elementary level? You see where the correlation is going to come. So it is down to us, the teachers, to really get down to what we are supposed to do with integrity and diligence, and then we do it, so that at the end of it, everything comes to that success.
Maybe as we wind up the conversation on Morning at NTV Show, make us understand, these learners will be rolling for A-level, and there are questions about the choice of combinations that they'll be doing, because at the end of the day, you find that a child has performed well in some of the subjects like CRE, IRE, among others, and now the question comes back to combinations. How have you people prepared yourself as being an institution in Koboko municipality, but also being educationists, to ensure that you guide these children to do combinations that can be in person, to allow them to pursue at least lucrative courses in the universities, aware that this time we're living in a very competitive market when it comes to the jobs?
Yes, that's right. Just like I said earlier, this has been coming. It's not just something that comes like a crash. It is something that has been well planned. These learners will be transiting to A-level, and of course there is the new curriculum for A-level, which is rolling out. There are already 1 or 2 preliminary trainings that have been done, and a lot other details are loaded. Now, from what we have received from the authorities, the government has done its part in planning this. The learners will be going to A-level. The subject combinations remain largely unchanged. Who are those that are going to get subject combinations? If a learner is able to score an A, B, or C in one of those subjects that the learner offered at O-level, then these become potential subjects that this learner can form their subject combination in to be done at A-level. But if the learner has got maybe a D...
Maybe our time is fast.
Okay.
I can hear my producer here. Maybe in just a second, what is your message?
My message is that let us embrace the new curriculum and support the government and see how far we move with it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Dear viewer, this has been Mr. Abima Rahman, who happens to be the academic secretary of Nyarele Secondary School, putting us into perspective, looking at this particular new curriculum. We didn't see the pioneers of this curriculum having their results released yesterday, and of course I can't put it better than him when it comes to the interpretation of these results and also the fate of the country, looking at the current education system. For the interest of time, allow me to link you back to my colleague in the studio, that is Chris Haigenyi, to wind up with Morning at NTV Show. Back to you, Chris Haigenyi, if you can hear me in the studio.
Thank you very much, Rashu Adidi. It's Chris Haigenyi there. But of course, I believe you're a very young man, and the vagaries of such phase of life, you need to put a little bit of vibe in the naming. Let's return to the studio and wrap this up. I would love to ask my colleagues to use 40 seconds, that is broadcasting time each, to say goodbye, wrap this conversation up, and then we shall be out. Go.
Thank you very much, all our viewers. I appreciate you for being with us. I would like to send greetings to Crested Secondary School and all the OGs and OBs of Crested Secondary School with our director, and I request that all of you should come at Crested Secondary School, and we offer you the jobs, those who want to work, we offer those. We give people who want to get admissions, they are available at school, and the offices are open every day. So I request that everyone should come at Crested Secondary School. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kahesi, very quickly,
Standard High School Zzana, main campus and Ruwero campus wishes everyone the best week, and we tell all those that got the A's, the B's and C's that Standard High School Zzana, main and Ndege campuses, vacancies are there, and we say that we give what the child wants, not what the public wants. We prioritize you, the child, and we promote your career.
All right.
Standard High School Zzana.
Mr. Mutanga, very
Thank
quickly.
you so much. Congratulations to all the St. Julian community, those friends of ours who made it this year. You are very wonderful. The OBs and the OGs, we still exist. And we call upon each and every person in the public to look at St. Julian schools in all the campuses. I want to thank so much the moderator for giving us a priority to educate the public.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, educationists, and of course key stakeholders in the education sector. Now, as we close the edition this morning, happy birthday to Batamliza Esther Angel at Kasangati High School. That is Batamliza, and birthday wishes go to you from mommy, daddy, sisters, as well as Uncle Wemba. All right, and as we say at Morning at NTV, may the stars align themselves to a bright future and one that is fulfilling for your life. That will do it for this edition. On behalf of the team behind the scenes, many thanks. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day.